Hello and welcome to another video on Airbnb useful tips. And today we're going to be talking about a really important subject, and that's how to hire and onboard and train cleaners. Now, this is a really important subject because your cleaning fees are a major amount of your expenses. If I look back at my accounts for the last couple of years, particularly when I had one bad experience, my cleaning fees were a fifth of my monthly costs, and that's way too high. So you've got to work out how to hire the right cleaners, but then how to train them and how to show them how you want the job doing properly. So let's get into it. The first things first is finding the cleaners. Now, there's many different ways you can do this. Of course, you can put an advert on a notice board in a local area. You might be able to advertise it on Facebook. And actually, I did advertise on our Facebook page. But what's worth its weight in gold is referrals, because if you're referred to someone, there's already some trust built there already, which is important to start off with a trust-based system. And then when you've got 5 to 10 people, I guess, to interview, meet with them, be very relaxed, because remember, you're selling yourself as well. Explain what the job is, and then just chat to them. Don't really interview them. Because you know what, actual cleaning experience isn't necessarily going to be a benefit to you, because you're going to train them how to do the cleaning yourselves. So I would not always go for someone who is a professional cleaner or who has lots of other cleaning jobs. Anyway, so you meet the people that you shortlist, if you like, and really get a feeling for whether you feel good about them, whether you trust them, whether there's chemistry between you, because that chemistry is really, really important. Invariably, there are going to be problems along the way. There always are. So someone that can deal with those problems is important. You also want to find out really at an early stage, ideally at the interview stage, if they're the sort of person that can deal with bad feedback. Because if you get a bad review and it references your cleaning, you need to pass that on. And if they take that to heart every time, and I've had someone who took it to heart big time, wasn't trying to upset them, just had to let them know, then that's no good. You need someone who's going to take it on the chin and learn from it. Okay? So let's get going. Once you've found the right person, or the person you think is the right person for you, be upfront about a number of things. First of all, be upfront about the hours, and that the hours will vary from week to week, and are they okay with this? Because if they're not okay with that, then you have a problem. Be very clear on how you're going to pay them. Now, I pay people, I have a minimum amount that I will pay for someone. So it's worth getting out of bed when you have effectively no mess at all, and it could be done in 10 minutes. So I have a minimum amount, but also on the other side of the coin, at minimum time. So they have to be there for at least an hour and a half. And if they get the usual clean done in 10 minutes, then they can do stuff that doesn't get done every day, like dusting blinds, that sort of thing, done in the extra time. And it's important that they stick to that, and you hold them to that. As I said before, tell them up front that you're going to give them feedback if you have bad reviews, and it's not bad or good feedback, it's just feedback to learn from. And also explain to them that you're going to train them on how you want it to be cleaned. because there's a load of different ways. Everyone has their own way of cleaning, and it's really important that you train the cleaners on your way of how you want the apartments to be cleaned, so that there's no ifs nor buts. You know, you're really clear. Okay, so once you get started, and you've told them all that, and they start their first day, this is their training day. Now you want to show them exactly how you want your apartment to be clean. So let's just go through the different things. If you look at the kitchen, show them what standard it should be. For example, how glasses should be stacked, how clean they should be, and the answer is spotlessly clean. That they should check the oven. They should check the grill, that they should make sure the toaster, for example, has got no stains on it, that it's streak free, that they check the kettle for lime scale if you're in a hard water area, and if you are in a hard water area, you do something about that. In other words, you give them from day one, included in their training, a checklist, a complete A to Z of things to check every single time. And actually, I tell my cleaners, you've got to spend 20 minutes at the end of your clean checking things over, and they fill in the checklist, they tick it off, and then they send it to me, or they scan it and send it to me. So do go through and train them and show them exactly how. It also shows that you're sort of down to earth, you're not above doing the cleaning. So for example, if it's cleaning a shower door, some people go out and buy specialist glass cleaning stuff, but actually you can just use brushed microfiber cloths, some washing up liquid, and clean over it, and then really buff it off afterwards to make sure it's spotless. But the point is, you show them your way. It's not their way, it's your way. That's really important. And what I do too is I give them videos of how I want things cleaned, how I want the beds made. All of these things really matter. The next thing, so you've done your training day. The next thing, of course, is going to be their first day of doing it themselves. And sorry, just one thing to say before that is ask them to take before and after photos. And this does two things. First of all, if you have any breakage or damage left by a previous guest, you have a record of that. And you also know how much work they've gonna have to do if they're taking before and after photos. So that's part of their job. That's part of your contract with them. So take before and after photos. After their first clean, in fact, tell them in advance that for the first 2 weeks, you're going to meet them after every single clean and just go through and check that things have been done properly, find out if they've had any problems, ask them how they feel. How do you feel about this? Is it all okay? That's really, really important. So check for the first 2 weeks and then tell them that every Monday or Wednesday or Friday, whatever it is, you're going to do a weekly check of what they've done. Another tip, a pro tip if you like, and this is a general tip of how to if you like measure trust in people, is do people do what they say they will do? In other words, if you ask them to follow a checklist and they don't follow the checklist, that's a big red flag. You can ask them once, you must follow the checklist. But if you have to ask them, a dozen times to do it, that's no good. You need people to follow your instructions. It needs to be a system. There's a great book out there called The E-Myth Revisited by a guy called Michael Gerber, which talks about making a business really systematic and step by step. So I highly recommend you look at that. It's not a promotion for him, but it's just a great book. So moving on, let's assume that you have a cleaner who is working out, who is following your checklists, who is doing the job to the standard that you expect it to be done by, now start to think about really building that relationship with them. You know, it's having that rapport, having that connection with your cleaner will help very much. If you have problems, or if things go right or things go wrong, try and find out about them as people, find out about their family and all of that. You know, people will do a lot for you if you show that you care about them as a person. That's super important. So build that relationship with them. One of the final points that I have in this short video is, don't, whatever you do, give your cleaner access to your booking system. I've made this mistake in the past where cleaners could see the value of bookings and they think, well, there's a £185 booking, someone's paid £185 for one night's stay. But what they don't realise, excuse me, is the commission that you have to pay on that stay. You know, the other costs associated, your television license, your utilities, your mortgage, your ground rent, all of the other things. And they just see, oh, it's 185 quid and you're paying me 30, let's say. So don't make that mistake. Transcribe all of your bookings onto a system that, another system. I use Trello. I think it's really good. There's a link to Trello in the description. And that's super useful. A final tip is to make sure that your cleaner you have a backup to your main cleaner. Now, the way I've always done this is my cleaner does this herself, so she has one of her friends as the backup, and that works nicely because they can kind of work together. The thing to watch out for is make sure that you also train their friend. And you get to know their friend in the same way as you get to know the cleaner, and you also get a bit of competitive tension in there too. So in summary, you know, use your gut instinct, hire the right people, ideally from referrals. Tell people in advance how things are going to work. That they're required to send you photos before and after. They're required to follow a checklist, and how the pay works. And you have to be really clear on this. So, you know, minimum hours that they must spend there, their minimum charge. You know, whether you're going to pay double time or time and a half on bank holidays over Christmas and so on. And I would suggest you do that. You know, if you've got someone good, look after them. So yeah, do all of that. And what you'll find is you've got someone that you can trust, someone that, you know, you've built a relationship with, and someone who you can pretty much leave alone, and that makes the whole experience of renting on Airbnb more automatic and more stress-free for you. So I hope this has been helpful. Please do like this video and subscribe to our channel. If you've got any comments or questions or thoughts, please leave them in the section below. And finally, you can subscribe to our blog, where we give you some free useful tools by clicking the link below in the description as well. So I hope this has been helpful, and I wish you a great day.